I'm here to continue my video series on the Wheel of Time, enhancing the reading experience. These videos are now going to be posted on YouTube, and I understand that I don't have all the frilly, all the nice bells and whistles that a lot of YouTubers have. I don't have any text appearing on the screen. I don't have any transitions. I don't have any cool little introduction. Music. I do have some Skyrim ambience music playing in the background here, but I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to just have a good time with these videos. So I'm here again in the glossary of the Sixth Wheel of Time book, Lord of Chaos, and in the other videos, I talked about some of the terms in the glossary. I talked about the Trollocs, the Trolloc Wars, and I moved through the glossary to other terms to make sure I got my pronunciations down correctly, and just to get a little bit more detail about the meaning of these terms. So I'd like to jump to another one that's obviously very, very important. And before I do that, in the other videos, I was expressing that I didn't actually know the name of the world that the Wheel of Time actually takes place in. Here's just a part of the map, and I found out that it is deliberately an unnamed world. Robert Jordan apparently never names this world, such as Tolkien does with his, calling it Middle Earth or whatever. But fans have called it the Rand Lands after the central character of the entire story, Rand, the dragon reborn. So we can call these the Rand Lands, I guess. I'm not crazy about that word, though I understand the extension that it has, the extension, the meaning that it has, what it's referring to. I've only read 5 books. I've just begun the 6th book, so I can understand Rand is moving all over the map, and just bringing sweeping change along with him as he continues through his story, right? But the term I want to look at right now is very important, and it is the Wheel of Time. This is defined in the glossary. So let's see what it says. It says, time is a wheel with 7 spokes, each spoke an age. As the wheel turns, ages come and go, each leaving memories that fade to legend, then to myth, and are forgotten by the time that age comes again. The pattern of an age is slightly different each time an age comes, and each time it is subject to greater change. So why is this term important and good to understand, to be able to enhance the reading experience of anyone that kind of sinks their maw into this epic fantasy adventure? Well, the Wheel of Time is referenced by that Aes Sedai, for example, in a very sort of mystical way, sometimes very reverential kind of way. They speak towards it with reverence. They speak at almost, they use it in a way that you would talk about fate or destiny. The whole book is, of course, called The Wheel of Time, and I'm tempted to say that this term is metaphysical in nature, and I've yet to get clear on the meaning of that term. I feel like philosophers or thinkers that try to come to terms with that idea define it in various ways. They assign their own unique meanings to it for their own purposes, but it feels like it's metaphysical in the nature, in the same way that you would say that fate is metaphysical. You could call it an abstract term for sure, but when you say time is a wheel with 7 spokes, each spoke an age, that rings figurative, right? But it seems to be it carries more than figurative meaning for the characters in the story. The characters in the story seem to take the idea very seriously, that this is a good reflection of what time is and how time works. Time is just this wheel that just keeps going. Each spoke of the wheel it represents an age. So there's 7 ages total, and ages come and go, and each time an age comes, what's it say? It says the pattern of an age. So each age has its own pattern, right? And I think this whole series takes place during the 3rd age. Is slightly different each time an age comes. So every time the 3rd age comes, it's going to be slightly different than how it was before, and each time it is subject to greater change. So take the 3rd age for example. Every time the 3rd age comes back around to be the one, I guess, within which, you know, there's consciousness or something. It's confusing because you would think that within every age there's stories unfolding, that each age is real, and that the world lives and breathes within each age. It's difficult. But anyway, I guess if you think about the 3rd age, or maybe only one age can take place at a time. There can only be life within one age at a time. I'm not sure, but the 3rd age comes. And let's say it comes again. Now it's subject to greater change, and it's slightly different. The pattern of the age is different, and it's subject to greater change. But we can actually keep using this glossary to actually go to the term pattern of an age, right? So when you hear the Wheel of Time, it should carry alongside it the idea of the pattern of the age, because if you use the pattern of an age in your definition and explanation or explication of the term the Wheel of Time, then it would seem the two are interconnected, right? And you would need to know both to really get a fuller understanding. So it says pattern of an age. So it says the Wheel of Time weaves the threads of human lives into the pattern of an age, often called simply the pattern, which forms the substance of reality for that age. The substance of reality for that age is woven by the wheel. The threads of human lives are woven into the pattern of an age by the wheel. So it would seem the pattern of an age, doesn't just refer to the way the world looks physically or geographically, right? But it has to do with the interwoven pattern of human lives that is the age that is occurring at the time. So for example, in the 3rd age that this whole story takes place, you have characters like Rand and Lan and Matt and Perrin and Egwene and Morgase and all those characters that I've come to know and love so much. They are the wheel has woven their lives like threads into the pattern, so it's all interconnected, you could say. And I guess if this age really has come to be, then things have happened. But of course, now that this age is occurring again, things are changing. Things aren't the same as it was the last time this age had occurred. And it says in this journal entry, see Ta'veren. And I had mentioned this word last time. Ta'veren, that is going to, so it's Ta'veren. It's a person around whom the Wheel of Time weaves all surrounding life threads, perhaps all life threads. So let's see that again. A Ta'veren, such as Rand, Perrin, and Matt, they are people around whom the Wheel of Time weaves all surrounding life threads, perhaps all life threads. So I guess these are very important people within the age, around which, a lot of things occur. People are attracted to these people. For example, Rand has like 3 women that are falling in love with him, or that are destined to fall in love with him, it seems. Men, uh, um, oh, I forget the name of the Aiel that is close to Rand right now. I can't forget her name. And then of course Morgase's daughter, which I forget her name right now as well. But those 3 women seem to be bound to fall in love with him. So there you go, have an example of that. And you know, these are main viewpoint characters in the book. So a lot of what we see happening in the world is kind of channeled through their perspective anyhow. So to call them Ta'viran is to say something like, you know, it's almost like you want to call them heroes, or if there was a woman Ta'viran, a heroine, right? These are people that cause great change, that are highly significant and important to the events of the world. They have a prominent place within the pattern of the age. Their other lives are kind of woven around them. They kind of move things forward. For example, Rand has brought a lot of change within the Aiel society. I mean, massive change. He's the Karakarn. He's the one that has been prophesied to come to unite the clans and at the same time to destroy them. There's always this sort of tension of opposites evolved here, which makes part of the feature of these books that I find so literary. Is there's this tension of opposites. Rand is going to save things, he's going to destroy things. He's going to destroy things, he's going to save things, right? It's not always black and white. So we started off with the Wheel of Time, which I called a sort of metaphysical idea or concept. It seems figurative. It doesn't seem to be literal. We don't actually see a wheel with 7 spokes weaving patterns into an age over and over again, you know, through eternity. We don't actually see that, although I guess it's possible that we could be brought through a portal into a realm where we actually see that, you know, that manifestation of that idea in physical form, which would make it less metaphorical. But it's like the idea of fate. It's like the idea of the fates in the Greeks that have like your thread, and they would like cut them, and that would be your time. If you think about the Disney version of the story of Hercules, and you think about those 3 fates that are about to cut Hercules' thread, but then, you know, Hercules succeeds and then it turns gold and the scissors go and it won't cut the thread because he's become, you know, that demigod. He's become basically of a godlike nature. He's had his apotheosis, right? So it's like those sort of ideas. They seem mythological, they seem figurative, they seem poetic, they seem, you know, almost mystical, religious, spiritual, highly symbolic, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at with metaphysical. Like, what experience would be necessary to verify the existence of the Wheel of Time and the existence of a pattern of the age, or a pattern of the age within which all these human lives are kind of intermixed and interwoven together, right? It seems very, again, metaphorical and figurative to me, but it does kind of give you a solid grounds for understanding this fantasy universe that we can refer to totally generally as the Randlands or whatever. We just call it the Wheel of Time universe. And again, the Aes Sedai, these educated erudite women, they kind of have a different relationship towards the Wheel of Time than perhaps other societies of people. They take it perhaps more seriously, in a more learned kind of way. They might see deeper significance towards it as a result of the education and experiences that they have gone through. And I have some memories of Moiraine, Moiraine Sedai, you know, kind of taking that sort of like mystical outlet towards the idea, and kind of having a reverence toward the idea and taking it kind of seriously, right? It's a worldview that the idea presents for you to consider, right? If you think that, you know, the whole world is under judgment in a Christian kind of way, awaiting for the second coming, I mean, that's a worldview, right? And it seems to be one that's not based upon the natural sciences. It would seem to be one based upon, you know, the doctrine as found in the Christian Bible, especially the New Testament. And you could call it metaphysical, I suppose. But again, I use that word loosely because I don't really know how to use it in a very strict technical sense. And depending on the philosopher or the thinker that, again, like I said, that tries to use this term, they might, you know, append their own unique meanings to it to make it work for their purposes in the type of text or the type of discourse that they're trying to create for whomever to consume, to bring about whatever change in the minds of their audience or within society that they wish to see. So to talk about the extension of the term, like the Wheel of Time, if we're gonna say that it has an extension insofar as that it makes sense within the world of the fantasy universe of the Wheel of Time epic, it carries a lot of intention from the point of view of the different characters. You know, it has meaning for them, and it might have it carry different meanings depending on the point of view. Like, again, if you're an Aes Sedai and you're of the blue Aja and you're looking for justice and causes, then maybe you've studied the Wheel of Time from a different light and look at it from the purposes of your Aja's philosophy, right? Which could change the way you think of it. And that could be a different way of thinking about it from a peasant farmer out in some, you know, kingdom's land that's just trying to survive and make do with his life and raise his family or whatever. They might have a concept of the Wheel of Time and use those words in their family or in their village or with others, but they might not see it you know, under the same light and from the same point of view as a blue Aja would, for example, or as Rand al'Thor's the Dragon Reborn would see it, or even as the Dark One would see it. The Dark One might see it as a challenge or something. Who knows? I'm kind of blabbering on at this point, but the point is, we've used the glossary to kind of explicate more meaning out of this term, the Wheel of Time, the pattern of the age, and Ta'viran, which are all important ideas to come to terms with and to absorb, to be able to enhance your reading experience of the Wheel of Time itself. It kind of gives you this sort of mystical backdrop, or this metaphysical backdrop to it all, thinking about the operations of time and so forth as it applies to all the particular events of these characters' lives and in the story, right? So that's kind of a go at enhancing the Wheel of Time reading experience, focusing on those three terms as given to us in the glossary.